So you got your first tech job, or maybe you're still trying, but either way, there's this voice in your head that keeps saying, you don't belong here. You're not smart enough. They're going to find out you're a fraud. Well, let me tell you, that's imposter syndrome. And if you're feeling it, you're not broken. You're not going crazy. It's actually pretty normal. So today in this video, I'm going to talk about imposter syndrome and how it shows up whether you're already working in tech or you're still trying, but most importantly, what to do about it. So if you're new, my name is Zazo. I've been working in tech for over 8 years, and I've definitely felt imposter syndrome in the various amount of roles that I've been in, but nothing hits more like when you're first trying to apply, or even when you get that first entry-level position. So in this first thing I'm going to talk about is what imposter syndrome feels like. I alluded to it kind of in the intro, but I'm going to give you some specific things that you can feel when feeling imposter syndrome. So if you're already in your first job, you may start thinking, everybody gets it, but I'm constantly behind, right? You feel like you're always behind that next person. You're always looking at the next person like they have it all together, or they get it. They know exactly what to do on the role. You may stop or just not ask questions because you don't want to seem like you don't know what you're doing, or you seem incompetent in any type of way. You're scared to push code. You're scared to speak up or admit that you're actually stuck on a project or a certain feature or whatever you're working on. So if you haven't landed your first role yet, it may come out very different. You might think things like, I'll never be good as them. You know, you'll see on social media a bunch of different people saying how they've landed these different jobs and done these different things, and you'll be like, well, I'm not as good as them. I don't belong in this field. I'm not meant for this. Or even the worst one, in which I felt, what if I actually get hired and I can't do the work? Either way, this leads to anxiety, hesitation, and burnout before your career has even started. So I'm gonna give you a little story about when I first got my first tech role. So my very first tech role was a software quality assurance engineer. And what this role is essentially you make tests and execute tests that a certain feature should essentially go through in order for us to implement the code and not break it. So for example, let's say we are adding a new button to a web page. As a software quality assurance engineer, I would speak with the developers and we would talk about the functionality of what this button is supposed to do. Let's say when you click the button, it's supposed to take you to a different page. So me, in my role, what I would be responsible for doing is essentially writing a test that would capture when that button is clicked, or even when it pops up, what is it supposed to look like? When I click it, what is it supposed to do? I would write tests around that to make sure that the functionality is doing what it's expected to do. When I first got into this role, man, was I so confused about what I had to actually do. I had been building projects on my machine locally. So testing was very, click here, go back, change some code, click here. It was very not formal in any sort. I get into that role and there are a bunch of tests, bunch of different things that I'm looking at, and I'm looking at these other people on the team and I'm like, I don't belong here. I don't know what I'm doing. However, so why does this actually happen? Well, specifically in tech is so vast and there's so many different positions and different things you can do that no one knows everything. It's literally just not possible. You have, like I just spoke about, software quality assurance engineering. You have software engineering. You have AI ML. You have data science. You have data analytics, data engineering, DevOps. I can go on and on. There are so many different positions in tech that it's not possible to know everything. And then within a subset of that, right? Let's say specifically, I'm working on web development. It is not possible to know every single thing about web development. That's why you have stacks where people learn a certain stack so they get comfortable with it and they're able to kind of work within that stack. Because if they change one technology out of that stack, they have to readjust and learn everything again. Now they stick with that stack just because it's more comfortable and they've been using it. Most of the time they still may not know every single thing in that stack. So this is one of the reasons why this happens. Another thing is, a lot of the times you may be comparing yourself to someone else's 10-year head start or even a 5-year head start. People come from different walks of life. Some people have been doing this since they were like 11 or 12, and they really have a good sense of, computers, how they work, technology, coding, all that type of stuff, where you may be just coming out of college, out of your computer science degree or whatever it is, and you may be like, I don't even know how to build something or whatever it may be, yet this 19-year-old is being hired, or this 20-year-old's being hired for this 6-figure software engineering position. Do not compare yourself. This is just one way that's going to lead to more anxiety and burnout. And normally the tech industry glorifies confidence and not vulnerability. So what you'll see, especially online, is you'll see a lot of confidence. You'll see a lot of people posting about different things they're doing. And you got to think about it. The people that are putting that out there are not the ones that are experiencing imposter syndrome at the time, right? If you feel like you don't know anything, why would you post it? You're only going to see those people that are confident, been in the field for 20, 30 years, 10 years plus, all these different types of things, right? You're not going to see the entry level 1 year, 2 year posting a whole bunch of stuff on how they did this and how they did that per se. Most of the time, that's not the majority. And I'm going to tell you something that you may or may not know. So I've been working in tech for 8 years, and I still feel imposter syndrome because there are different problems and different problems to solve that I have never seen before, and maybe I haven't seen it in a certain context. And that right there almost always gives you that sense of, will I even be able to do this or complete this task? So even the most senior engineers feel this. The key thing is they just don't let it stop them. So now I'm gonna give you what you can do to kind of combat your imposter syndrome. So whether you're still looking for your first job or whether you're already in the industry, these are gonna be some real strategies that you can learn that can help you with your imposter syndrome. So the first thing is, track your wins. Write down what you've built, write down what you fixed, write down what you've learned, what you may have shipped. This becomes proof on a daily basis that you can do it, right? The days that you doubt yourself, go back and look at your little wins and say, I did complete this, I did do that, I can do this, right? You want to keep that positive mindset, and you want to continuously look back on those wins, big or small, because all of them are steps to your journey, and they're all level ups. So another thing is, you can ask questions publicly. LinkedIn, Reddit, Slack, any type of group that you're in, feel free to ask your questions publicly and always continue to learn, because competence will lead to confidence, right? Like I said, senior engineers still feel this, but the more times you go through this, the more times you realize it's just another time and I'll get over it, like I have the numerous amounts of times before. Find some type of circle, some type of support system. So get a mentor, get a buddy. So that's one of the first things that I did on my role is when I became a software quality assurance engineer, once I kind of got settled into the role a little bit and kind of learned what the role was, what I would be doing, I found somebody that was a lot more skilled than I was. And we always put our heads together and we were able to kind of work together, and I pulled so much information out of that, and I'm sure he did too, about both of our walks of life, and we were able to just be so much better. If I could, I would have gotten a mentor. Get a mentor if you can, or just join a community where it's safe to be like, I don't know what this is, can somebody help me? Another thing is build in public. Share your learning journey. Post your projects, bug fixes. There's a bunch of stuff on GitHub for new beginners, experience projects, documentation, all these different types of things. So build in public. The more you show up, The more you're able to complete even the smallest things, the more confidence you have in yourself, the more you can believe in yourself, the more you can get over this imposter syndrome. Another thing is reframing your thinking. This is something I have to do on I would say at least a monthly basis, right? Reframe your thinking into like, I can't do this, or I haven't seen this, I don't know how to do this, to I may not know everything, but I'm willing to learn. And that's what tech actually values, because a lot of people do not know a lot of this stuff, but the people that really succeed are the people that say, I don't know everything, but I sure as hell will figure it out. And that's what's gotten me to be in tech for over 8 years at this point, is the fact that I have always done that and said, I don't know how we're gonna solve this, but one thing I know about myself is I can definitely figure it out. Once you reframe that thinking and you start acting upon that, makes you 10 times better. This is a big one, and this is a key one that will stop you from making any progress, is feeling ready. Whether that's feeling ready to apply for your first job, or doing that project, you will never feel ready. So you will never grow if you continue to let this stick in your mind and trying to be ready. Do it before you're ready, because if you just continue to prepare and plan, you'll be doing that forever, because you'll be wanting everything to be perfect. There's no such thing. Even the most experienced developers have ugly code. They have ugly code, they have ugly projects, things don't work how they expected it to work. All of this is normal. The key is you can't plan forever. Don't feel like you're ready, because you won't be ready. So just get started, start doing. So imposter syndrome feeds on silence. But the truth is, if you're learning, applying, building, and just showing up, you're already in motion. Whether you've started your first job or you're still applying, you belong in tech. Not because you know everything, it's because you will not quit. And that is the key thing to succeed. So if this resonated with you in any way, go ahead and drop me a comment about how you've either been facing imposter syndrome or how you faced it in the past. Let's leave a positive type of vibe in the comment section, so people who maybe aren't commenting or anything like that can look at the comments and see that they're not the only ones going through this, and then they can do it too. Again, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.